There are a lot of familiar faces in here, a lot of new faces, and I'm overwhelmed with the reception, so I'm glad that you all are here, and I look forward to commencing this evening's event. Before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge an artist that's here that's not on the program, Akweti Arakatata. He lives in CDMX, that's Mexico City. He's one of our participating artists, and he came a long way, so I'd like to welcome him and his family as well as my family sitting in the front row. If you know anything about my family, we travel large, so they're probably about 10% of the audience, so. Good evening, and welcome to a night of art and conversation as we embark on an exciting journey into the world of contemporary art and culture. I am Edmund Gazy, as co-curator of Accra, The Rise of a Global Art Community. It is my distinct honor to be your host for this evening's special event. This exhibition is special to me. I graduated with a BFA from the Columbus College of Art Design, right across the street. Hey. And back then, I won't tell you what year, but it was long enough time ago to remember when Black contemporary art was scarce in our textbooks or art forum, let alone West African contemporary art at that. It was a time where I struggled to find comparable references in art history to support my vision. See, I'm first generation Ghanaian American and was exploring ways to support my vision and to infuse my culture as I understood it into my practice. Needless to say, my early studio critiques were misunderstood and often awkward. So fast forward to over 2 decades later, to be standing here at the Columbus Museum of Art celebrating Ghanaian contemporary artists and their contribution to art history brings this journey full circle for me. And there's a bit of a vindication too. But for the most part, I'm proud of what these artists have accomplished. So I'm glad that we're here to celebrate them. I'd like to thank the Columbus Museum of Art Director, Brooke Minto. I speak for many of us invested in Columbus's art community, that we're excited at your hire and the expertise you bring to this new era of museum leadership. Thank you to the Board of Trustees and the talented museum team for working endlessly for bringing this exhibition to life. I'd like to give a special thank you to Nicole Rome, who was kind of the unsung hero of this exhibition, dealing with the tedious task of securing loan agreements and shipping artworks from 3 different continents. And it was not easy. And of course, my co-curators. First, Deidre Hamler. Deidre, very warm and very accommodating. She helped navigate our exhibition and not compromise the scope, even during a complex administration transition. And I'd also like to thank my other co-curator, Rebecca Ebel. Rebecca? Rebecca has been my partner in a lot of this journey, or I've been her partner, I should say, in this journey. She's been a pillar in the Columbus arts community for as long as I can remember, and I think a lot of you understand that in this room. So, in addition to that, through her experience, her savvy, generosity with artists in Ghana, she has also evolved into a valued contributor to Accra's art community as well. So, thank you, Rebecca, for your contribution here as well. Tonight we have the privilege of delving into the vibrant and captivating universe of Ghanaian creativity and tradition through the lens of 2 remarkable individuals. We are here to celebrate the captivating exhibition, Accra, The Rise of a Global Art Community. But at the heart of our gathering tonight lies the insightful conversation that will unfold before us. We are joined by none other than the brilliant artist Kwesi Bochwe, whose exceptional melanin-centric works have graced the walls of Art Basel, Armory, Frieze, and most recently his brilliant solo exhibition at Violet Melcho Gallery in Los Angeles. Sorry, I messed it up, but we'll correct later. His practice focuses on captivating portraits that utilize vibrant colors and narrative that speak to the complexity of Blackness. With his recent venture, World Face Studios in Accra, which Bochwe mostly designed and financed himself, probably all financed and all designed by himself. Sorry, no, do not let me take your flowers there. So, with World Phase, Bochwe has created a sleek, spacious, well-resourced residency for young artists to develop their practice. The concept of Rise of a Global Art Community was partly inspired by witnessing the development and launch of Kwesi Bochwe's World Phase Studio. Kwesi has proven proactive in following his desire to incubate and expand his creative community. And I look forward to the opportunity to hear him expound on these thoughts. And guiding us through this illuminating discussion, we have DK Neuro. DK is a Ghanaian-born writer, is a graduate of Johns Hopkins and the Iowa Writers Workshop. He has taught novel writing at the University of Iowa and is currently curator of special projects at the University of Iowa Museum of Art. His debut novel, What Napoleon Could Not Do, is one of Barack Obama's 2023 summer reading list picks. Okay. Sorry, I'm not done there yet with Derek, because he's also been shortlisted for the American Voices Award and longlisted for the Center for Fiction First Novel Prize. Just an all-around busybody and a good friend of mine. So please help me in welcoming our guests tonight, DK Neuro and Kwesi Bochwe.
Thank you, Edmund. Thank you. Wow, you guys really know how to fill an auditorium. I live in Iowa. But I'm from Ghana. Okay, I'm from Ghana, but I do live in Iowa. I've lived there since 2014. So if I'm still there next year, and that's a big if, don't tell my bosses at the University of Iowa that that's a big if. But if I'm still there, and I'm sure I will be, I would have lived there for a decade. Imagine that. When I moved from Ghana in 1998 at the age of 11, moved to LA. And I had always lived in big cities. I went to high school just outside of Boston. I went to college in Baltimore, Maryland, spent time in D.C., went back home to Ghana, came back to D.C. So I had been such a big city boy. And then the Iowa Writers Workshop pulled me to Iowa City. And there's something about Iowa City. It's a great arts community. And I'm intentionally bringing that up because I see that happening in Ghana now. That kind of environment that fosters art writ large that I have observed and love so much about Iowa City is happening in Accra right now. And I know that for a fact because I go there very, very often. Edmund and I were just there last December for, among other things, the opening of Amoako Boafo's residency program, Dot Atelier. We'll talk about that later in conjunction with your residency program, World Phase. So Accra is just such an exciting place to be right now. It's so much happening, and I'm just really honored to have been entrusted with this very, very, very important responsibility of taking you all to Accra. Very, very important. And I do want to emphasize Edmund's thanks. I definitely want to thank Brooke. I want to thank Nicole. I want to thank Madeline. I want to thank Rebecca. I want to thank Deidre. Edmund, I want to thank you, right? Everybody else got an applause. I think Edmund also deserves an applause. Thank you. Edmund was kind enough to read our bios, but I'm going to intentionally start here, and there's a reason why I'm doing that. Let me give you a little bit of an anecdote. So I gave a reading, Edmund told you about my novel, which came out in February. I gave a reading, I believe it was in Atlanta. My bio had been read, I read, I talked, and then, a line formed for me to sign books. And in the course of conversation with one person, she asked me about my life, so on and so forth. And among the things I told her was that I have always had one foot firmly placed in Ghana because my mother has always lived in Ghana. And I'm a bit of a mama's boy, right? I use that language. I am a bit of a mama's boy. So I had to go back often. I went back often. And, I could just see a big smile come on her face. And she leaned in and she said, "You should add that to your biography." And I thought, why? And she said, "Because it provides me a new lens on the novel." She had already read the novel, and one of the things that she appreciated most about the novel is the fact that I had captured my female character and she used this, forgive me, so damn well. That's what she said. She's like, "I get it now." So the art really opened up in a new way for her. And that really taught me a lesson. And since then, I've been, beginning conversations in this way. Our bios were read. But I want to ask you, what is one anecdote that is not in your bio that you can share with us that you think will not only contextualize our conversation today, but people have already seen the art, others will go back, take another look at it. You should go back and take another look at it after this anecdote that you think will open up the art, the work in a new way.
Good evening, everyone. Well, I would like to say a big thanks to the Museum of Columbus and also to the team, Rebecca, Edmond, and everyone for, giving us a chance to showcase our work, especially to Ghanaian artists. I think it's a great moment, which I am honored to be part of. Yeah. So, I think what I would like to share, which is not in my bio, I think during my practice as an artist, it was really, tough. When you're writing your bio, you don't get that chance to, include that. I think at a point in my career, I got to a point where, I wanted to give up. Because there was we were lacking structures, spaces, so these are some of the hard challenges that, put me in a position where I wanted to give up and take another job. Because you are a good artist, but then you don't have structures. You don't have firms that would accommodate your works. Like you have to struggle to find spaces, to showcase your work. So I think this is something that I would like to highlight on. And also I think this situation actually pushed me to be the artist I am today. Because I actually have to stood on my feet and overcome these challenges. Yeah.
Wow. That's yeah. That's that Nima resilience. You got it. Do you want to tell our audience a little bit about Nima? He's got that Nima resilience, and I want him to capture that Nima resilience.
Well, so Nima is a slump. It's where everything happens. To me, Nima is like the world, because you find everything there.
Yeah.
Violence, gold, church, Muslims, I find everything in Nima. And I think it also shapes me in a different way because it's like you have seen everything, but not everything, because you have been exposed to a lot of people, a lot of culture, a lot of religion, and, yeah.
Thank you. Figurative art, particularly portraiture, which is your expertise, your brilliance really is in that field. Portraiture really dominates the contemporary scene, the contemporary art scene in Ghana right now, in Accra more specifically. And it's understandable, but it's also curious. So I'm interested to find out what it is that drew you to figurative art, particularly portraiture, and why do you think you've just stayed there? You've stayed there. What is it about it?
Well, this is a very interesting question. I mean, especially finding myself in this era, and I can, though I'm very young, but I feel like I've been in the art scene for a very long time.
Since
When
when?
I think around 2009, yeah, I mean, I started.
How old are you?
Yeah,
How old are you?
I was very young.
How old are you
I
now?
think,
How old are you now? You don't have to tell
no,
us.
okay, I'm 29. I'm 29.
Oh my God, you're
Yeah.
that young?
Yeah, I'm 29.
I didn't even know that. Amazing.
Yeah. So I think I started young with a street artist, and I can actually tell portrait was not really a thing in Ghana.
Okay.
Because abstract was a big thing then, because we have Professor Blady Glover, who also I feel like had their time then. Like it also got to a point where installation work like Ella Nachwe, Brian Mama, Seta Tukwe, they also had their great times. And now I feel like portrait is getting that attention. It's not new, but I feel like we are getting so many artists with so many different talents and ideas, which is making portrait look so new. And I think this has been one of the factors that is making portrait in Ghana to be very dominant. And I feel like the artists are also putting so much work, because when I started portrait painting, it wasn't like that. It was very hard to even get a gallery to, showcase your work. And now it's like everything is changed. Everything, it's like what we were, praying for and hoping for. And so seeing myself in this era, I'm much, like grateful and honored, because it's like my artworks were not in vain. Because I could quite remember I used to go to Amako Space, we paint together, artists. We have a very small community in Ghana that we meet and, paint, because we don't have spaces. So then you need to be with someone who you think have access to space to also, practice together. So I think we, the artists, have also put in much work to make sure portrait is being, where it is, yeah.
I'm interested. So if you can just take us back to when you were born. No, I'm kidding. Take us back to your rebirth, if you will. That moment when you discovered portraiture and you said, "This is it for me."
Well, I think I discovered that I really love portraiture and I'm very connected to it was when I started working with a street artist. Because then, Ghana is like, when you tell people you're an artist, they'll be like, can you draw me? And I think I love the fact that portrait challenge you. And I think I'm someone who like to be challenged. I like the process of overcoming a situation. And so with me, painting, give me that kind of, vibe that, okay, I'm painting someone, I need to get their emotions. I need to get their feelings. I want to feel the person in the work. So in my earlier works, I was painting hyperrealism. So, after that, I started transforming into conceptual portraiture, yeah. So I think back then I was more into hyperrealistic painting, because I feel like portrait is a subject that I really love, and it also gives you the power to give a viewer an access into someone's life, because sometimes we paint people that we have not even met, but through portraiture you get to, invert yourself in that energy where you want to feel how the person, you want to feel the person's emotions in the work, So I think this is some of the things that makes portrait very interesting, because it's more like a reflection of ourselves, and you can relate to the emotions, especially when it comes to the eye, and all that. Yeah. So I think this is something that really draws me into portrait painting.
Yeah, the eyes, and you are known for the eyes. You are known for the eyes, and I do want us to, let's see, I do want us to go through some of your work. You differentiated to some degree between what you're doing now and what you did then. You used the word hyper. You did hyper realistic portraits, and would you categorize this as such, or what? If you could just tell us a little bit about this, what inspired this, and how you would term this, if you will.
Okay, so I believe in every artist's career there is some sort of transformation compared to, like, let's say for example, Vincent van Gogh. When you look at his process from his childhood times, his practice, he had a time where he transformed. So for me, I was also feeling that kind of energy. So that's when I transformed into creating a new body of work, which was inspired by the microaggressions towards dark skin. Because living in Ghana, sometimes when you're dark, they call you names. You have nicknames like, Tuntum and all those stuff. So I have my friends who will be like, Kwesi, you look so dark. And I feel like these are some of the microaggressions that push people into skin bleaching, because then they want to be accepted, in society. They want to live up to how everybody see things to be. So I thought as an artist, it's good to also address it creatively. So I decided to create visual perception by, creating an abstract body of work that is meaningful. And also I feel like this would actually elevate the people's mind and also open their eyes on how they view black skin. So I think I started practicing with colors that have meanings to royalty, superiority, and all that. So I decided to choose purple, which is being connected to these, titles. So I decided I wanted to combine purple and black. Which for me it worked so well. So I had my first solo show at the Gallery 1957, which was titled "Dark Purple is Everything Black." So in that sense,
Dark purple is everything black.
So
I'm stealing that title for a short story or something. Now that's a title.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think my work is actually to elevate the people conceptually and visually to learn to accept themselves, to also cherish themselves. So I think that has been my main goal and also my main practice. Yeah. So I decided to create the body of work of this work.
These dark purple figures.
Yeah. Which was received so well during the COVID times. I think we had most of the work sold. Over 40 works all was sold. So I'm like, oh, great. This is something that, and I feel like the people are really, connecting themselves to the work. Yeah.
I'm trying to get to another one. Test. Oh, there it is. I love the colors. They're so vivid. Jesus Christ. And I don't know if the audience can see it, but the purple up close, it's so evident, and you are known for that, obviously. And for me, what makes it so powerful, you just spoke so beautifully about it. But
thank you.
For me, what makes it so powerful is how defiant it is. It is defiant, and this is, the idea of being called purple black. I think this is a universal thing among black people. I don't care if it's a black person in Timbuktu or a black person in Alabama. There is a way that, and let's call a spade a spade. There is a way that white supremacy has convinced us that darkness, dark skin, right, is hideous. is unappealing, and you are resisting that, right? You are resisting that and recasting it with these beautiful, beautiful figures, such that, and I'm hoping this is what is going to happen, such that when people are called purple black, it's no longer pejorative. Because you think, yes, I am purple black. Have you seen the work of Kwesi Botre lately? Yeah. Purple black is beautiful. It's beautiful. And I think he deserves an applause for that. I think he deserves an applause for that. So the piece in the show, which I'm hoping we can get to, not this one, we'll get to it soon. There we go. This is up. This is very much up. And if you could just talk a little bit, I am particularly drawn to the eyes. So if you could just talk a little bit about where the inspiration for this piece came from, and what are you trying to convey with this piece? Yeah.
Okay, so this was of my recent exhibition at Susan Vermeer's gallery called "There Is More Than What the Eye Witnesses." So with this, I was just trying to portray affirmations, yet I was using the African mirrors. I don't know if you're familiar with it, the orange mirrors. I don't know if you have really, seen that though, but I think these mirrors actually you can actually see them in West Africa, like Ghana, Nigeria.
I think my grandmother did have one. No, I'm serious. The orange mirrors. Yeah.
So I think with this series, I was just trying to portray the essence of using mirrors, but I was using the African mirror, to have a play in this subject, because it's something that I think I've been for a very long time and has not been properly documented. So I feel like it's very important to document it, because I feel like Africa, we have so much things and we don't value it, and art is always around us. So looking at these mirrors, and I was asking myself, why are they painted orange? Why orange? It could be blue, it could be white, it could be black, but why orange? And, anytime I walk down the street and I see people carrying like orange wood, I definitely know it's a mirror. So in this way, it's talking to me in a different way, because I did design communication. So it's telling me that, our ancestors were using colors to communicate to the people creatively. So I was trying to also invest, to investigate and use that in my work, So I think most of the work in the show were having like orange mirrors throughout. So I have an installation of the orange mirrors and all that. Yeah. But then I was also trying to portray self-affirmations and all that. And this work is titled We Are in This Together. So showing a couples who are standing in front of a mirror, admiring themselves, yeah.
I gotta ask the Africans in the audience, the Ghanaians, did y'all have orange mirrors? Because I'm starting to think, like, I think I did, yeah. As a curator, and like, I don't think this is the connection we make, but that's what's so special about these kinds of conversations. We see the skin, right? We see the purple black. We see the eyes, those red eyes. But the purple mirrors, and the history behind it.
Yeah. Orange.
Excuse me. Orange. Y'all are paying attention. Yeah. Y'all are paying attention. The orange birds. Like it's something that we don't think about, and these kinds of conversations really open us up to to a new lens, you know, literally, right? A lens, mirror, haha, get it? Anyway, but I do want to ask you a little bit more about the eyes, though. Why those eyes? Why those eyes?
Okay, so the eyes, the reason why I chose orange was, during my practice of creating an elevated body of black, I wanted the figures in to look so intense, to have this kind of superior, state, because I've tried with white eyes, and to me, it's like, it's look normal because we all have white eyes, you know what I mean? So I wanted to put it in a very animated form where it will differentiate, what I'm trying to portray. I'm trying to portray a superhuman, with super features. So I decided to choose the orange, to represent that, that form. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And the intimacy between the couple. I see this and I see so much fire in their eyes. And the contrast of that fire, intimacy, love, passion, all of that is characterized or marked by heat. So it makes sense. Yeah. But the eyes communicates another kind of heat to me. So seeing that juxtaposed with that intimacy, the closeness, what seems like a preamble to some serious lovemaking, right? It just feels so powerful. It's such a meaningful piece. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
For this. Thank you for this wonderful, wonderful piece. Wonderful, wonderful piece, which is in the show.
Yeah.
So you also, earlier when I asked you about that anecdote, and I'm glad you answered the way that you did, because, a questioner always wants a jumping off point. So thank you for that. And I'm about to jump off that point. You mentioned how there was a lack of resources for you. You mentioned how there was a lack of resources for you. And, World Phase, which you mentioned earlier, which Edmund mentioned in his intro. Tell us about World Phase.
Okay, so World Phase is a studio that has a residence, and the idea behind World Phase was based on the experience that I had during my early days, finding hard to find space. So after, I had a break, I had like a good career, I would say that. So I decided.
What does that mean?
So being successful, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
I think it's important. It's important for artists, because there are other artists, who are having to contend with doubt, who are having to contend with opposition from family. I can speak to this because, what Ghanaian household? And I was at Johns Hopkins heading towards becoming a neurosurgeon, by the way. Wow. And I told my parents, that ain't gonna happen. And out of all the things, I was going to be a novelist? What you talking about, novelist? Right? So when, I needed more examples. I had some examples, but I wish I had more examples to hold up to them, because, and I understand why my African parents, my Ghanaian parents were so resistant. It made sense that I was going to become a doctor, because they had a long list of Ghanaian doctors who had beautiful homes, beautiful cars, beautiful families, beautiful. They could only point to who? Ama Ata Edu. So it just felt like, it was a pipe dream. So it's important. This is why I stopped you there when you said you have a successful career. I want us to start speaking more specifically about how successful you can be as an artist. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy,
easy.
but it's
not easy.
possible. So
Definitely.
you ain't just successful, man. You killing it. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you
And
so
others
much.
can-
Thank you so
and
much.
others,
Thank
you
you
know,
so much.
you killing it.
Thank you so
You killing it.
Thank you so much.
And this is the product of your killing it. So
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, so after being successful as an artist, I'm like, okay, I will devote my time in creating a space to foster young talent. You know, I feel like it's a mission. You know, being successful is not, you're not successful because you are Kwesi Botwe. You are successful for a purpose. You are successful for a reason. So getting a space for me was so much for me. It was on my art because then my studio was like very small. I was living in my studio, painting at the same time. So I know how it feels. So I'm like, okay, I'll create space so artists will have time, live, you know, create, communicate with themselves, you know, to create a very good eco art system. And I'm happy that, I mean, a lot of artists are also doing that. Like Amaku Space also add up to everything. You know, we have different space, you know, and this could actually tell you that we are still lacking space. If artists are creating space, then you should know that we are still lacking space. Because if I should compare Ghana to New York or even to Ohio, there's a huge gap, you know, and we are getting a lot of artists, you know, and if the space are small,
You can house them.
you can't,
You know?
because up to now, Ghana, we don't even have like a contemporary museum. We don't. You know, so this is a big issue, but we
We'll
artists
have a
are
national cathedral soon.
definitely. Yeah, so I think
That's
it's,
the Ghanaian side, by the way.
yeah, so I think it's good artists, you know, take this as an opportunity to also invest in spaces to help grow the art community, because at the end of the day, I'm an artist and I also love art.
Yeah.
I collect art as well. So I love to see artists, you know, work. You know, I like to listen to artists and all that. You know, it's my world and it inspires me, and I want to be in that space. Yeah. So this has been the main, you know, idea behind World Face. Yeah.
This is not small. This is really impressive. This is not small. You know,
Thank
so how many studio space, like, so
So yeah.
Tell
So
us a little
this
bit
is
more.
the showroom.
okay.
So we have it's a 3 floors.
3 floors,
Yeah,
okay.
3 floors, and we have 2 floors at the back that are two studios with 2 resident space.
Amazing.
And we have offices in there.
Amazing. And so it opened when?
So the space was open in August, and we recently had a 2 solo exhibition of our 2 artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have 2 artists in residence now.
No, right now we had an exhibition for them.
You had, okay.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
an exhibition for them.
Wonderful, wonderful. So is the goal to have a residency program, or is what is your vision?
So the goal is to cultivate young artists.
Yeah.
You know, teach them about the art market, teach them about art and how it works, because you can't be an artist if you don't understand this. You know, you need to understand how it works. So you get in the space, we give you a stipend.
Okay.
We get you resources, materials for you to work for 3 months. So
3
during
months,
the 3
okay.
months residence, we take you through this process.
Okay.
And then we do like a solo show for you.
Amazing. And can you tell us what space this is? This is like a
No,
gallery.
so this is the space. So this was the opening of the space.
Okay.
yeah.
This is the opening of the space. Okay. So that's the gallery space,
Yeah,
and this is the opening.
Yeah.
Ooh, Ghanaians know how to party. We do love a good party, don't we? This. So you know, I have to ask you. This thing is in East Legon, and you know, I'm trying to get land in East. How'd you get this? You know, it's for those who don't know, it's a ritzy part of the country. It's where if you tell people you live in East Legon in Ghana, they're like, huh. So this goes back to the point of you killing it, not just being successful. So it's hard. It's hard to do this kind of thing anywhere, but especially in Ghana and in East Legon. So we're celebrating your triumphs, but I want to also recognize, as we have already, but should especially with this accomplishment, that this was not easy. So you've killed it. You have this wonderful space in East Legon, and you are creating an ecosystem that is going to allow for a lot more Kwesi Botre, some Kobuafus, Akwetes. I mean, kudos to you.
Thank you
Kudos
so
to
much.
you.
Thank you so much.
I'm being asked to wrap up because I think it's time for. Do we have time for just one or two questions, please? Yes. One question. And I get to pick. So, be nice to me. No. Anyone have a question? Anyone have a question?
Do you think Edmund can beat Edgar in a wrestling match?
So Edmund and Edgar are twins. I don't know if you know. They are sitting up here, and the question was if Edmund could beat Edgar. How about a real question? Yes, please. Everybody heard that question? Okay, so I'm gonna paraphrase. Please forgive me. The question is about, our history is very oral. Our history in Ghana is very oral, and the question is about how Kwesi is advancing our history, right? Is passing on our history. What is Kwesi telling? How is Kwesi telling the younger generation about our history? And are you interested in more of like our art history or? It's not. No. 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 Beautiful. Yeah.
Well, I think that's nice question, but
It sure is.
yeah, but I think
Wish I'd asked them up.
Yeah, I think
Upstage me.
well, I think that's why artists are. I think that's why artists are creating space, because art is all about having structures that would document, these times. Because if you look at Ghana, we didn't have structures to document. Even in some of our artifacts, I went to the museum of. It's not a museum of art like Ghana Museum, and there are things that you don't find. Even if you are doing a research, there are things that you don't find. You won't see even Abladi Glover's work there. So I think for me, I think this era, the artists are doing so well, investing in structures. If you look at the Brian Mama's space, space are there to document, cultural, practices and all that. So I think this era is doing so well by creating space that would, document, our history for our next generation. Yeah, so I think we are also pushing hard for the government to, invest in museums.
I was going to ask you about sustaining this.
To also, document, some of our artists and some of our, cultural practices, because sometimes you want to do research, even at my world phase, sometimes I want to ask the artist to go and do research, and you go to the museum and, you have limited access to certain things, which I don't think is right. At the rate at which Ghana is growing, I think we should invest in these things. So I think for now, creating spaces is also a way of documenting, these things for the future generation. Yeah.
Do we have time for one more, or we're done? Okay. Thank you all so much. So much. Thank you to you, Kwesi.
Thank you so much, Derek. Thank you so much.
Thank you for keeping our identities going with such beauty.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
It's a pleasure.